Hello, everybody. It's me, Shmerel the Cohen here. Unfortunately, today I'm a stick figure, and I've lost my Cohen clothes. Oh no, this is terrible. Well, the reason I'm here as a stick figure is because in Perek Chavchet, that's chapter 28, Hashem commands us about the laws of dressing the Kohen. That's right, Kohen needs the Kohen and the Kohen Gadol need to be dressed in style. Well, the first thing that you got to know about the garments of the Kohen and the Kohen Gadol is that there were, for the regular Kohen, that is the Kohen Hedyot, as he was called, the regular Kohen, he had 4 garments. And the Kohen Gadol, well, he was very special. He had a grand total of 8 garments. That's right. Shmona bigadim. 8 garments for the Kohen and the Kohen Gadol. Well, that is pretty cool. The Torah begins speaking about this special ephod. Now, the ephod was a multicolored apron that was worn by the Kohen Gadol. That's right, the Kohen Gadol only. Here, I can dress myself in this apron, and it would sort of look like this. If I had shoulders, the ephod would come over the shoulders. It was a strap in the back coming over the shoulders, like that. And what would happen is, on the top of the ephod, there were golden settings with special black stones, avnei shoham, they were called, and on them was inscribed the names of all the 12 shvatim, 6 on each shoulder. Okay, pretty cool. And the ephod was made from multi-colors. It was woven with gold strings, sky blue, that's the chelet, argaman, which is purple wool, tolat shani, dark and red wool, okay, and sheish and linen, all woven together, so it looked multicolored when you looked at it, okay? And the ephod went around the back and tied in the front. Okay, that was called the ephod. Again, the multicolored apron with the shoham stones, the special stones on the shoulders. Now, something very special was hung by golden chains from each shoulder. What was that? So this garment over here was called the choshen. Now the choshen was a very, very cool garment. It was actually made, the back was made from the same cloth, right? It was woven similar to the ephod, gold, sky blue, dark red, crimson wool, together with linen. And it was made into a square. Now really, it wasn't exactly a square. It was actually a rectangle folded over. And here I'm making an image. It's actually a folded over cloth of the same 4 materials, and inside was written a special name of Hashem, the 72-letter name of Hashem. It was called the Urim V'Tumim, and the Urim V'Tumim was placed inside this pocket, and this was folded up, so it only looked like you could only see this square of the choshen. So this is what the choshen looked like when it was folded up. And it had 4 rows. On each row, there were 3 stones. Okay? And it was very, very special stones. Each stone had a different color. And on each stone was a precious stone. It was inscribed the name of one shevet, plus another couple letters the Gemara speaks about. We won't get into that here. It was named, each shevet's name was inscribed on them in order that they were born. Okay? And there was golden settings, and then the stones were placed into those settings, 4 rows. And this special garment was called the choshen. Okay, the choshen. The Kohen Gadol always had to wear it. He should not take it off. Okay? Now, in the corners of the choshen, notice there's little gold rings. Those gold rings, so on the top, were attached to golden chains, and those golden chains were suspended from the from the ephod. So imagine in like little golden chains over here, and then on those golden chains would be hung the choshen with the 12 stones. Okay, here that's like a little sloppy drawing over there. That's how it would look. And then there was blue strings that would tchelet strings on the golden rings. So the rings in the corners were gold, and on the top was a golden chain. On the bottom was tchelet strings to tie it to his garments. Okay, so that is the ephod, the apron, and the choshen, two beautiful special garments. The next garment was the me'il. Okay, the me'il this is only for the Kohen Gadol. The me'il was sort of like a blue poncho-like style. It had an opening for a neck, did not have sleeves, and on the bottom was very unique. On the bottom of this me'il, and our picture is not so clear over here, but on the bottom there were rows of bells and pomegranates. That's right, a bell. So a bell looking like, let's say that, right? It's a little clapper to ring. And then a pomegranate looking like an upside down pomegranate there. And they hung in rows of bells and pomegranates, and the bells would actually jingle and make a noise when the Kohen Gadol would walk into the Mishkan, into Hashem's house, sort of like teaching you a lesson that before you go into someone's room, right, someone's private space, you should knock, you should let them know that you're coming. So that is a very important lesson that we can learn from the Kohen Gadol's Me'il. Okay? Now, the next garment was called the tzitz. Okay? The tzitz was a special plate that was tied around the Kohen Gadol's forehead. And it said on it, it was gold, and engraved on it, it said, Kodesh LaHashem. Okay? And this was engraved on the Kohen Gadol, on this golden plate, and tied around his forehead, so he always remembered Hashem. Okay? And on the corners, there were two golden, there were two sky blue tchelet threads that would attach it around his head. Okay? The next garment was worn also by the... So the next garment that we're going to look at was called the ketonet. Now the ketonet was a shirt or a robe worn by the Kohen Gadol, and the ketonet was pure linen. Okay? Now, for Aaron's sons, for the regular Kohanim, they had actually, it was more like a checkered robe. It was like a long robe, and it had like a checkered pattern on it. Okay, part of my checkers. So they both had this long robe, and then there was something called an avnate, a belt. It was a belt made of the similar woven materials, right, as the ephod, and it was wound around his waist many times. Okay, and they also had a mitznefet, a special hat. It was wound up also. It was wound all around his head many times to make like a turban. Both the Kohen Gadol and the regular Kohen had that. And they also all had michnasayim pants. So the regular Kohen had four. He had a turban, a mitznefet, a ketonet tashbetz, a checkered robe, an avnate, a belt, and a michnasayim pants. Those four. The Kohen Gadol's edition, right? Well, besides that, his robe was linen, but he also had an ephod, an apron with the stones on the corners. He had the choshen, right? So it's two more, that makes six. Then he had the special tzitz, Kodesh LaHashem, right? That said holy to Hashem, a golden plate on his forehead. And the eighth garment that he had also a me'il. He had that sky blue robe with the bells and the pomegranates on the bottom. So those are the four garments of a regular Kohen and the 8 garments of the Kohen Gadol. And, oh, wonderful! Great, thank you very much, Rabbi Wagshul, for that great explanation. But now I need to put on the clothes. What are we going to do? Not to mention that we need a silly story to remember it.
Well, I'll tell you, everyone. You see, chapter 28 is chapter knife, because the N is flipped on its side, as a 2 flipped on its side. The K doesn't count. And the F sound is really, as we learned before, the F in script looks like a script 8. The F looks like an 8, so there is 28, looks like an F. So knife is 28, and that is my secret code. And chapter knife, which is chapter 28, well, let me tell you all about it. What happened is that Shmerel the Kohen came along and he didn't have any clothes, so they took a knife and they started to cut out a nice blue robe for him. First they cut out a nice robe for him to wear. Ah, very good. Now I feel much better with clothes on, my checkered tonet. And then let's cut out for me a beautiful turban to wear on my head. Okay, we'll wrap it up very nicely, very nicely. Okay, excellent. And, I think I need some pants on, you know what I'm saying? Okay. We'll cut it out. Okay, very nice. Ah, pants, great. I like wearing pants. Okay, and, I need a belt. Otherwise, beautiful, winding around my waist. A nice belt. Now I look like Shmerel, the Kohen Hedyot, all dressed thanks to my trusty knife. Thank you very much for watching. Oops, one thing I forgot, thanks to Ariana, thank you for reminding me that the vowels don't count, and the K doesn't count either, because when you say the word knife, you don't hear knife. You don't say knife, you say knife. So that's why we count the N and the F. Thank you very much for watching.